Here is the background to the disorder and what has caused it. Why the protests began. On July 29th, three girls aged between 6 and 9 were all unalive during an attack at a Taylor Swift themed dance event for children in the seaside town of Southport in northern England. 8 other children and 2 adults were hurt. Police arrested a 17-year-old male, and false information circulated on social media that the suspect was an Islamic migrant, which led to violent anti-Muslim protests in Southport the following day in an attempt to attack the town's mosque. The teenager has since been charged with the M word and an attempted M word. Police said he was born in Britain and have not been treated to the attack. Yeah, he was born in Britain and have not treated the attack as terrorism. So really, with just all a misunderstanding, they thought it was a Muslim that did this, kind of like what's going on here. They just blame everything on the Muslims, but it wasn't a Muslim that actually did it. There has since been riots in more than 20 places across Britain, Sutherland and Northeast England, and Manchester in the Northwest, the Plymouth in the Southwest, and Belfast in Northern Ireland. Most of the protests have involved a few hundred people targeting migrants or Muslims, with police vehicles set alt-right and bricks, bottles, and other missiles thrown at mosques and police officers. Shops, including Asian-owned businesses, have been vandalized or looted. All right, so I think I got a video of this. We'll go into that right after this. In Rotherham, I never been there, but in northern England, a hotel that held migrants was attacked with windows smashed and a large garbage container set ablaze outside. Around 400 people have been arrested since the disturbances started, police chiefs say, and more than 120 people have been charged in connection with the riots. Who's behind the riots? Prime Minister Keir Starmer has said the violence was a result of the far-right thuggery. At least they call them thugs over there. High-profile anti-immigration and anti-Muslim activities, such as Stephen Yaxley Lennon, known as Tommy Robinson, have promoted the protest online and have been accused of politicians in the media by peddling misinformation to inflame tensions. Robinson has accused the media of lying about him. I mean, that's pretty much, let me see. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, same thing, mainly the far right. But we got us a documentary. It was not a documentary, but it's a short documentary, if that makes sense. Download. Yeah, so this is a pretty big thing. It's been going on since the 29th. It's been every single day. They've been out there clashing. I could show it on this channel because this channel ain't monetized yet. But there was a video of one guy versus probably about 30 as a black guy. They were whooping his ass, but he held his own. The only thing is the police, they arrested him, but they didn't really, they apprehended him to get him out of there, but I don't know why they would do that. Like, hey, just get him out of there. If I can find that video, I'll show you guys. Hold on, let me see. Here we go.
They want to kill us. If they catch us, they're gonna kill us.
Watching on in horror as outside their window, an angry crowd tried to turn over a police van. This is the moment Hamid and Abdullah, not their real names, thought they were going to die when the place they call home was attacked by an angry crowd who tried to set it on fire.
There is no humanity, if you understand what I mean. It's like, zombie. They burn, they want to kill, they make like that.
They make gestures.
Yeah, just like that, always. And we're gonna cut you. We don't cut you. We don't cut you today, we're gonna cut you tomorrow. If we don't cut you tomorrow, we're gonna cut you after 1 weekend. They was thinking we're gonna die. I swear, I don't lie.
They're both here seeking asylum and showed me footage that they filmed when their hotel in Rotherham was attacked by right-wing rioters who then turned on the police. They've been moved to a new hotel. We won't reveal where it is or their identity for their own safety. Now you've been moved to a different hotel. What are you hoping for now?
We need to, they leave us alone. That's it. We need to live like everybody in this world.
Ladies and gents, if you find anything you don't think you should be picking up, give us a shout.
Today, a community cleanup. Volunteers coming together to say this is the image of the real Rotherham. 240 people seeking asylum had been housed here. They've all been moved on now. How have some of the most vulnerable come to be the target of this violent unrest? And crucially, what can be done to stop it?
Now, if you remember, they were talking about the trash can being set on fire. That's this video here.
Bin's going. She's gone. Bin's up. Bin's up. Come on, bin! That bin's up. That bin's up now. Bin's up. Push him back. That fire's going now, there's no point in that.
After an emergency Cobra meeting, the Prime Minister announced a standing army of specialist officers to tackle the unrest, although he didn't clarify exactly what this means.
Whatever the apparent motivation, this is not protest, it is pure violence, and we will not tolerate attacks on mosques or our Muslim communities. So the full force of the law will be visited on all those who are identified as having taken part in these activities.
In Tamworth, petrol bombs were thrown and the police attacked by people chanting racist slogans. One officer suffered a broken arm. The crowd then set fire to this hotel, as inside, asylum seekers and the staff feared for their lives.
They wilding now, but they're starting to get I won't say they're really getting a hold of it, but I think like the Prime Minister, if they catch you on videos, if they see you throwing anything, they're going through all the videos and they're starting to go and arrest people now. I mean, I think they'll talk about it towards the end of it, but if not, I'll show you some stuff. And then you got people like recording the police coming to their house and coming to get them. If you're making comments, they coming to get you. They try and clean it up because, you know, they always say go back to your land. But, you know, the Indians, they came over to the UK and they helped out during World War II. So, yeah, the Americans helped England. But since at the time, India was a British territory during World War II, over 1.2 million Indians came up here to help them win the war. Because if you know anything about the UK, London got bombed. There was a London raid. That's where you got London Bridges from, the song London Bridges Falling Down. Because the Germans, they bombed the UK for like a week straight. Boom, 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 boom. So they needed help. I mean, we weren't in the war at that time, but that's when India, they started to come over and help because they were a British territory. But they always telling people to go back to their country when technically they were a British territory. So this was their country when they initially started migrating over here. That's why you see a lot of Caribbean people over here also, because a lot of Caribbean islands, they were British territories. So during the war, they came over there. But after the war, they just stayed. Also, you see it with a lot of African Americans, mainly like in France, over in the UK. They were here during the war. They got in relationships with some of the British, some of the French. But once they got sent back after the war was over, that's why there were so many quote unquote bastard children, because they got left over here because the men, this is 1940. They ain't got money to fly back over here. They didn't know how long they were going to be here. They didn't know how long the war went on. So they started getting in relationships and started having families when they went back. So that's why you have a lot of mixed population over here in Europe, primarily because of World War II. Just a little bit of history.
The hotel had previously been identified by the local MP, who said in a Commons debate, people want their hotel back. Today, Sarah Edwards said in a letter she condemned the violence. They're just fixing up the windows and assessing the damage here. Many have been left wondering not if there will be another attack,
but when.
Where. After a weekend in which violent disorder has swept across the country, there are many wider questions. about racism and Islamophobia, about the power of social media, but also the responsibility of politicians, some of whom have been accused of using inflammatory language, which is then co-opted by extremists.
So these cameras provide reassurance for the sort of the congregation, and they're sort of at the front and back end of the entrance.
At her mosque in Birmingham, Hamda Mohammed shows me the security measures they have in place. Rumours have been circulating on social media channels that far-right groups are heading to this city.
It's very much rumours at the moment, but it feels like a very, very real to us as a community here, because we have to sort of really make ourselves less panicked.
Hamda says many Black and Asian communities have been left fearful, but
What's up,
also
Derry B?
angry at those who question their right to call themselves British. She feels there needs to be a wider debate about the causes of the violence.
To be sort of told you are not British and you do not belong here is sort of like, then where do I belong? I clearly can't go somewhere else, and I clearly don't belong here.
And that must make you feel horrible when your identity is being questioned as a British person.
I think the wider issue is that scapegoating of Muslims, of migrants, of people of colour that we've seen decades and time again in the news, where migrants are referred to as illegal immigrants, or far-right thugs are sort of classed as just protesters, rather than what they really are, which is racist, Islamophobic riots.
6 days since the unrest began, there have been nearly 400 arrests across England. The suspect...
The motherfucker launched that shit. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I think I'm gonna bring up the footage. What up, Kendall, Torian, Eric, Derry B? How y'all doing? I'm gonna try to bring up the Prime Minister talking about them coming to get anyone they see, and then I'll also show you the footage of the police actually showing up and doing their job.
...have started to appear in court. The Prime Minister insists they will feel the full force of the law for their actions, but addressing the reasons behind their actions and stopping it spreading will be much harder.
Well, right now, Darshna is in Alum Rock in Birmingham, where there have been rumours online since this morning of another far-right gathering. Darshna, what's happening there now?
All day, rumours have been circulating that far-right groups will be coming here next to this community. In the distance, you might be able to hear police cars going by. There are groups of young men. Some say they are on the way to a roundabout nearby, where around 200 or so have gathered. They said to me that they are from this community. Some of them are from the local mosques. They say that they are ready to defend their community. And when I asked them what this would mean, they said they don't want any trouble, but they will meet force with force. Those are the words that some young men use. Tensions are very high here. We've spoken to immigration advice centres, to solicitors' offices, whose addresses have been circulated on some right-wing groups. They are very concerned about what could happen next. And this is why people are fearful. They have heard the Prime Minister's words, but they wonder, is he really going to be able to stop whatever happens next? And today, another reminder of the real-life consequences. The Royal College of GPs have said that some of their members, healthcare workers, have been abused, particularly those from minority ethnic backgrounds. And they say this is the real-life consequences of the disorder and the atmosphere that has been created on our streets.
Now, the mayor of London said, Freddie Gray, yeah, I know what you're talking about, Tori. I remember, because I was over here when that was going on. The mayor of London says, update on the threat of violent disorder. The disorder, racism, and violence that we have seen in the towns and cities across the country in the last week have been truly shocking. I'm aware of reports that far-right groups are now planning to target locations in London, and I want to be very clear to anyone thinking of spreading hatred and fear in our city. If you break the law, action will be taken against you. Acts of violence and disorder on the streets of London will not be tolerated. And if you commit a crime, you will be arrested and face the full force of the law. I am in constant touch with the Met, City Hall, and the police are working closely with community leaders and local organizations to protect. That's funny how they be spelling their stuff. To protect targeted buildings and places of worship, as well as provide reassurance for Londoners. I know the shocking scenes had left many Muslims and minority ethnic communities scared and fearful. So I asked my fellow Londoners to check on their friends and neighbors and show them that care and compassion is what Londoners are all about. Where is it at? So here we go.
The time's 20 to 3, 1440. I'm arresting you on suspicion of improper use of the electronic communications network. Under
What?
127 of the Communications Act, okay? So you do not have to say that it may harm your defence if you don't mention one question, something which later are in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence.
Now, the crazy thing about the UK, the police don't have guns. Only like the special forces and stuff have guns. The regular police officers, they don't walk around with guns. They got a stick and a walkie-talkie and body camera. They don't have guns over there. So, like, she just got her hands in her pocket. It's not like she has a weapon. If you're going to get into it with the police got to fight because they don't have any guns.
Do you understand that?
So I'm actually being
You're
arrested.
going to be arrested, okay?
Right,
So you
and-
got to the police station.
Right.
Ask you, okay, this is in relation to some comments that you've made on a Facebook page. Okay?
Oh, really? Oh, it's a Facebook crime, is it?
Okay.
Right.
So we need to ask you some questions about that.
Right.
Have you got anything in your pocket?
I've got my keys. No, that's about it, I think. Keys.
So, anyone who's been arrested, we can search them under Section 32 of Basic Criminal Act.
Right.
And that's for dangerous items.
Hey, you said I was going to be arrested under some what information? But I'm going to be
We've had
arrested for
reports that
posting on
you've made
Facebook.
some comments that are offensive, obscene, and people have made a complaint about that, and it's transferred.
And
they've
can
come
you
from
can you tell me
a
what this
Facebook
comment
account in your
was?
name.
We'll do
Okay, well, we'll do that when we interview.
All right. And so, what am I going to be locked up for the night, or?
Well, hopefully not. The time's 20 to 3.
They're all calm. Well, the time is 20 to 3. We're going to go ahead and arrest you because you violated the electronic device on Facebook. You made a comment. He's like, well, I got my keys on me. Man, I would have went in there. It wouldn't have been no talking. I would have kicked that door open. Oh, the fucking ground, turn the phone off. Drug him out of there. No, they ain't got no tasers either. Only specialized cops can have weapons over there. Well, guns are illegal in the UK anyway. And knives, if you get caught with a knife in the UK, oh man, it's like having a gun over here in the States. An illegal gun. You can't have a knife over there in the UK. So when we were watching Supercell, they got guns, but you remember when he got stabbed up, they grabbed the knives and got up out of there. Because getting caught with a knife in the UK, shit, you might as well go ahead and lay it down. How much? In the UK, the maximum penalty for an adult carrying a knife illegally is 4 years in prison. First offense, there is no mandatory minimum sentence for a first offense. Mitigation factors such as good character, youth, police cooperation can reduce the severity. Yeah, see? Shit, go over there to UK with a knife if you want to.
Darshna Soni there, thank you. And apologies if you heard any bad language there. As we can see, it is live. And as we've been hearing in South Yorkshire, not far from here, police have condemned what they've called a disgusting display of thuggery following the disorder at that Rotherham hotel housing asylum seekers last night. At least 12 police officers were injured by a group estimated to number more than 700 people. Local MP and Defence Secretary John Healey said there will be a reckoning for those involved. Amelia Jen was there last night in Rotherham.
This quiet suburb 10 miles away from Rotherham last night became the scene of a pitched battle after a crowd who'd surrounded a hotel housing asylum seekers set it alight.
The police have managed to move a crowd around 100 to 200 down this end of the road, but they're still throwing glass bottles, they're still
She got a bicycle helmet on for protection.
throwing logs, and actually 2 boys have just started a fire over there.
By the time police had dispersed the riot, it was 5 a.m. and 12 South Yorkshire police officers had been injured with rocks, fences and other missiles.
It began yesterday around 11:30 a.m. when a group of 250 arrived in the Manvers area of Wath-upon-Dearne. A further group of around 500 people arrived shortly after, who we believe held far-right and anti-immigration views. It was ultimately a disgusting display of thuggery, continuing well into the evening.
The hotel's windows were smashed and a wheelie bin set alight before being pushed into a doorway, police describing a concerted effort not just to damage the hotel, but to inflict serious harm on those inside.
I've come down from Leeds this morning. This is where I'm from, but I live in Leeds now. But I was just crying my eyes out yesterday watching it. It's awful. Just thinking about the people inside, like, that is not a way to treat a human.
It turned from peaceful into possibly some of the most sickening parts of society that exists now in the UK. Where's the tolerance gone? Where's the understanding? Where's the acceptance that actually where's the acceptance that some of this is a historic failure of government to actually process cases as well, so they're not sitting in hotels for all this time?
I spoke to one man here last year, and he'd already been rehomed in another part of the country. I won't name the place, and he'd been.
This is probably what's going to happen if our election goes the way I think it's going to go. It's going to get ugly in November. Because it's looking like old Donnie ain't going to be in there again. And, you know, they already don't know how to act. We're going to have another January 6th, which is probably going to be to another level. Oh, man. I just hope you guys bunker down. I hope you guys are safe over there. You know, don't go out to none of the protests. It ain't worth your life.
So badly beaten up there, it had left him with a permanent disability. So he'd been moved here, and he was still waiting for his claim to be processed.
Liz's friend works inside the hotel, and she's done voluntary work here too.
They'd had some contact by WhatsApp and told me that they'd been moved into the stairwells, which had been locked for safety. And one of the lads had texted later in the evening and said, "Oh, don't worry, we've got apples and water."
This morning, Defence Secretary and local MP John Healey visited the site, having spent all night with the police. He was stopped this morning by someone who lives nearby, who repeated unsubstantiated claims about inequality in policing that have been circulating online.
I'm also hearing from a good source that the police have been told not to arrest any immigrants or do anything, nothing at all.
His is a government battling not just sticks and stones, but online agitation and misinformation that will have felt all too real for the men evacuated from the hotel at dawn.
All right-minded people have got to condemn what we saw yesterday in Rotherham and what we've seen in other towns and cities, which is thuggery, violence, disorder, vandalism, unleashed under the banner of protest. It's unjustifiable, and there will be arrests, there will be convictions.
Today, South Yorkshire Police said the responsibility lay not just with those bent on destruction, but those spreading misinformation and hate online. Anyone simply standing and watching too, they described as absolutely complicit. This a vicious cycle of online and offline hate that last night landed here.
They said if you just standing around watching, you're complicit with it. That means your ass will go to jail too. So there ain't no standing around just watching saying, "Oh no, I was just there, man. I ain't know what was going on." You know what's going on.
In a quiet village in South Yorkshire.
Well, as you can see, the hotel is now boarded up. There's still a police presence here, and South Yorkshire Police say they have arrested 6 men in connection with the violence here, but they expect that number to rise significantly. Detectives are currently sifting through hundreds of hours of footage. And as you heard there, we were here this morning speaking to volunteers. Alongside them was the Metro Mayor of South Yorkshire, Oliver Coppard, and this afternoon he released a statement about what had happened here last night. And he said the far right have always asked those with little to blame those with even less. He said that this had nothing to do with the 3 little girls from Southport, and he said that racism was not patriotism. He said violence is not grief.
Thanks, Amelia. Well, with me here in Birmingham now, Suresh Grover, who is director of the anti-racist charity, the Monitoring Group, which was set up in the wake of deadly racist violence in the 1970s. Paulette Hamilton is the Labour MP for Birmingham Erdington, and Gulwali Pasale came to the UK, having fled Afghanistan and now campaigns for refugees' rights. I mean, Suresh, you're a veteran of all of these race attacks, racist riots in the 1970s and 80s. How does this compare?
This is unprecedented. We seem to have leapfrogged from Europe, France, and globally, a new kind of fascism, a new era of fascism, which is bent on the murderous intent to kill people.
Man, what the hell? Why this thing jump to the end? I know that ain't the end of it. Oh man, we didn't download all the way. All right, I mean they basically talking about the same stuff, but we got some footage though, because I mean, let me see.
Wow, like everyone is.
Oh, this ain't what we clicked on. Here we go.
Wow, like.
The fuck. All right. Says over 400 people have been arrested during the tumultuous week of rioting and violence. More than 100 of those have been charged, including Stacey Vent, a woman who pushed a burning wheelie bin into officers. A wheelie bin is just a trash can with wheels on it, y'all. Don't be confused. A wheelie bin into police officers. Oh yeah, she needed to be arrested. Let me see. So this, I guess this is the lady that pushed the damn bin. These criminals could face terrorism charges.
Oh, she's done. Oh, look at him at the front, man.
That right there kind of reminds me of what was the lady's name on January 6th that they shot in the face? The terrorist. You know, what was the terrorist name that stormed the Capitol and they shot her in her face? What was that terrorist name? Yeah, Ashley Babbitt. That reminds me of her ass. You out here wilding out, then you talking about, oh, she didn't do anything. You just pushed a wheelie bin into the police under arrest. You just stormed the Capitol. You were trying to get in there next to the damn Congress. Gotta lay them down. Sometimes you gotta lay them down. You got to lay them down. What are the clears doing here? What you mean? What's the clears doing here? What does clears mean? Let me see. No, it ain't that one.
Days of rioting in England and Belfast. Social media has been used by the far right to spread rumors about immigrants and organize protests that have become violent. Thousands of police officers are on alert. So, what's behind the surge in violence? This is Inside Story.
It's a long intro.
Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Mohammed Jamjoom. Thousands of police officers are on high alert in the UK after rioting in cities and towns in England and in Belfast. The violence has been blamed by Prime Minister Keir Starmer on far-right activists and groups organizing themselves online. Individuals, rather than organizations, seem to have been driving the protests, almost all focused around migrants. Mosques have also been targeted. Migration has been a leading topic in politics and media in the UK for several decades, with some newspapers and politicians carving out a hardline stance. The last Conservative government had planned to deport illegal migrants to Rwanda, a plan dropped by the new Labour one. So, why has there been such a widespread and sudden upsurge in violence? And how have politics and media affected attitudes on migration? We'll be discussing this with our guests shortly, but first, this report from Victoria Gatenby.
They talking about sending them to Rwanda. Come on now.
The last Conservative government had planned to deport illegal migrants to Rwanda, a plan dropped by the new Labour one. So, why has there been such a widespread and sudden upsurge in violence? And how have politics and media affected attitudes on migration? We'll be discussing this with our guests shortly, but first, this report from Victoria Gatenby.
Riots by far-right protesters have spread across the UK, sparked by a series of murders in a seaside town in the northwest of England. 3 girls aged 6, 7 and 9 were stabbed to death in a knife attack at a children's dance class in Southport. Police arrested a 17-year-old boy who was born in Britain. But users on social media falsely claimed he was a Muslim asylum seeker. Newly elected Reform MP Nigel Farage was criticised for speculating whether, in his words, the truth was being withheld by authorities. A mosque in Southport was attacked by a far-right mob.
That's the same thing we're going through right now. The politicians over here talking about, no, it was an immigrant. It was the illegal immigrant that did it, spreading false information. And of course, you know, the right, they gonna run with whatever they hear. And now they're going after all of these migrants who are here legally. They're not illegal, they're migrants. They're not immigrants. They're not illegal immigrants. They're migrants. They're legal. But that false information got spread. It was actually a British kid that did this.
Local communities are being thrown apart, and these people from outside are coming and literally destroying the mosque. We've spoken to the imam from Southport. He said he had to barrage and lock himself inside the office with his other members who were in the mosque at the time. They were afraid the door was going to be broken down.
In the days that followed, the riots spread. In Hartlepool, in the northeast of England, a police car was set alight. And in London, crowds pelted the gates of Downing Street and fought with police officers. That prompted the Prime Minister to hold an emergency meeting with police chiefs.
As far as the far right is concerned, this is coordinated. This is deliberate. This is not a protest that has got out of hand. It is a group of individuals who are absolutely bent on violence.
But despite government warnings, disorder has persisted. In Nottingham, officers were confronted by far-right protesters. In Hull, a crowd demonstrated outside a hotel housing migrants, and disorder broke out in Belfast. Campaigners opposing racism were also out on the streets, saying those spreading hate and misinformation must be stopped.
We fought them in the 30s, we fought them in the 50s, we fought them in the 70s in Britain. We will not allow the right wing to dominate our working class communities. And we will come together every week in every town and bring the message of solidarity to all the people that have come to our communities.
Only a month after being elected, the new Labour government is facing a national crisis, and the Prime Minister and Home Secretary are having to focus on stopping violence across the streets of the United Kingdom. Victoria Gatenby, Al Jazeera for Inside Story.
All right, let's go ahead and bring in our guests. Joining us from London is Shabana Begum, Chief Executive Officer.
And real quick, what they're trying to do now, anyone that's being racist or does anything towards any healthcare workers, they're trying to deny them health benefits forever. Because there was 2 Filipinos attacked. Let me see what it says. People who are racist to NHS staff, that's basically their health system, can and should be turned away, the health secretary has said. This comes after 2 Filipino nurses were attacked on Friday night as they traveled to work. Rioters violently pelted rocks at their taxi, which led them feeling terrified. Health Secretary Wes Sterling condemned mindless thuggery. Damn, imagine losing health care in general. Like, even after you do your jail time, they talking about, hey man, you can't get health care in the United Kingdom. Take that shit to Ireland. Take your ass over to the mainland Europe. But over here in England, you ain't about to get no health care. Damn, that's wild. But I think that's right though, man. You attacking the Filipinos, what they do, man? They work it, man. They ain't got nothing to do with nothing. None of these people got anything to do with it. All the information was wrong. It wasn't an immigrant that did this attack.
Of the Runnymede Trust, a British race equality and civil rights think tank. In Oxford, Katie Brown is a postdoctoral fellow at Maynooth University in Ireland. She focuses her research on mainstream far-right discourse. Also in London, Sohan D'Souza is a computational social scientist interested in the links between disinformation and political extremism. A warm welcome to you all, and thanks so much for joining us today on Inside Story. Shabna, let me start with you today. All of these riots, all of this violence, this has all erupted so quickly. Why has there been such a widespread and relatively sudden upsurge in violence?
Well, I think, as you say, it has been an outbreak of violence, but I think it's unsurprising given the long lineage of anti-immigrant, Islamophobic demonisation that we've seen in our mainstream politics now for years, but particularly intensifying in the last few weeks and months since October 7th with Gaza and what's been happening there, and then with the general election campaign, both during and afterwards. The kind of narratives that we saw being espoused by our mainstream political parties, the trading in insults around Muslim communities has become quite normalised by our mainstream political parties. And so it's unsurprising when you see such a hostile environment created by our politicians that then erupts.
All right, man, we know about the politician. Let me get to some action. What's he talking about? Compilation, social science, former research assistant, MIT. All right, let me see. We get into some action. We just gonna be doing some talking.
That's where we need to look at political leaders, which doesn't deal.
Man, they just talking about the political side. We want to see some riots. We want to see what's going on. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Do I got another download? The riots. Oh, switch accounts. But yeah, it's wild over there. I got a homeboy that just got to London this morning. I was joking around with him, but I was for real. Like, man, don't get your ass whooped over there. He over there. I think he's there for 5 days. I'm trying to see if I can get. Let me see.
It's time to spin and win at Empire City Casino in our 1.5.
Switch. So here we go. We got some live stuff real quick just so we can see what the hell is going on. If it'll load up. And he got a LeBron James jersey on. Come on, man. Police can't even do nothing. All they got is sticks. Anarchy on the England flag. So this is from when they caught the damn trash can on fire. But it's switching back and forth between like some live footage. Damn, he about to catch his ass. This dude look like January 6th, though. Oh, yeah, when you go to UK, stay away from the horse. Horses like dogs. They get off on your ass. Damn. You gotta hit him in the gut. There you go, right there. Knee him in the gut. Yeah, get him down. There you go. Don't let him out of there. Yeah, whoop his ass. Hey, look at this cop right here. Getting them jabs in. Big bastard.
These guys, the police are backing up. The police are backing up. The police, Jesus Christ.
This is some wild shit. I ain't gonna lie though. I like when they this close. I'm dropping my shield and grabbing one of them. We bringing one of them over here. We gonna whoop some ass. This one right here. Oh yeah, he doing all that pointing. You gonna slowly see me put my shield down. I'm gonna grab his arm, throw him behind us. You just gonna see some stomping out back there. Oh yeah, I'm getting in on this. Am I gonna go over there and help him fight? Help who fight? Man, I ain't helping these fools fight nobody. If anything, I'm going against these niggas over here on the left. These extremists, these terrorists, these thuggeries. Yeah, I'm on the police side on this one. I know a lot of. I guess that's in the live stream. Yeah. I just found this channel today too. First post. They do a pretty good job, but that's pretty much what's going on over there. They got a race war, which all started because of a misunderstanding and misinformation. So now it's a race war going on, and they're prepping, they're boarding up buildings, they're doing everything, the proper precautions for excuse me, for any type of like riots that are about to come. So they boarding shit up, kind of like they were doing during the pandemic, man. But no, I mean, if I was over there, I mean, I wouldn't even go over there to look at none of this stuff. Like, if I was in London right now, I mean, I stay away from that. They not letting it get too far in like actual London. They did mention Birmingham and Manchester, the other two large cities in the UK. So you got London, Birmingham, Manchester, Peterborough's smaller, but you got Cambridge. But yeah, I don't think they're gonna let this get to like downtown London. They'll probably bring out the army for that. But yeah, man, it's pretty wild over there. It's been going on since July 29th, man. Hopefully they can have peace soon. Just looks like a bunch of white guys that don't have shit going on in life and they just want to be outside doing dumb shit. So hopefully we, saying they can get them off the streets, clean up the city. And if you are over in the UK, man, be safe. It ain't worth going out there and watch it, man. Watch from the safety of your home. Watch from the safety of your home. Oh, see, they got the locals out there now. Uh-huh. Oh, so they're out there chanting. They're chanting off our streets, Nazi scum. So they're outnumbering them. All right, the police need to just get out the way. Let them get one or two of them. Give them a nice little ass whooping. Let them know, hey, get off the street, you Nazi scum. Get them up out of here. That's all. Just a little roughhousing. But yeah, there we go. That's what's going on in the UK, man. The little race war. Hopefully it doesn't spread to get any bigger than that. You know what I mean? Next up, we do have the Ohio father, though. Let me see. Now, this story is wild because I didn't just hear about it. I heard about it when it was going on, but I never followed up on it. So we're just gonna go through the whole rundown of what this is. Let me see. So this is about a guy named Chad Doerman. Give you guys a little overview of who Chad Doerman is.